general nerdery.
So I'm in the middle of a vacation while we're recording this. So my day so far has been get up, make a pot of coffee, watch an awesome movie, and now I'm going to sit down and record about it. And how is this not just my regular life? Like,
Yeah, that's a good
why?
question.
Why do I have to go move boxes for a living and can't just do this like every day of the week?
So did you just wake up and just watch the movie?
Oh yeah, it is 10:39 right now, and we started watching it at 8 a.m. Like I finished the movie, made more coffee, called you.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. That's a lot of fun. It's going to be great to have it that fresh, I think. But we got
Uh,
things to talk about before we get to the movie.
like for example, welcome to General Nerdery, your podcast about liking things. We're your generals of nerdery. I'm Zach,
I'm Tyler.
and if the sound sounds a little wonky this time, it's because we're not in the same room and doing this over the phone. And I am willing to bet my microphone is not great.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
It's great. It's great.
With you not in the room, I'm wondering what background noises I'm going to end up with my cat actually like venturing in here and wanting to come up on the table and stuff with me. So.
Oh, see, I thought you meant my side, and the answer is probably a lot of wind on the really like falling apart roof of our new house, or some of the like 40 something peacocks that live on the property.
Oh yeah, that could do it.
It is a noisy place to live during their mating season. Like, I know that's not nerd related, but I'm just letting you know.
I mean, somebody's going to be nerdy about that.
Oh. Anyways, what have we been ingesting this week?
Yeah, so surprise, surprise, still a lot of Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yeah.
I won't go into the details, but I did have one of those moments where I read something wrong, or I miscounted, or something along those lines. So I went really, really, really hard in the paint one of the days trying to get one of the legendary weapons, and then realized I was still one step away that I just can't get done yet in the game.
Oh no.
So that
I
was a
hate it when
bummer.
I do that.
Just finished my Schitt's Creek rewatch last night.
How many times have you watched that now?
Just the 2 times.
Oh, okay.
Finished Battlestar Galactica earlier this week. That is amazing. Holy wow.
Yeah, that one holds up.
Wow. And then the other big ingesting was last night was the Loki premiere.
Oh yeah, that's out now.
So I watched that at
Oh,
1 in the morning.
I finally got caught up on the Avengers movies, and now I need to get caught up on all of the TV shows. How was it? Did you like it?
I did like it. I mean, so far they've just been knocking it out of the fucking park with these Disney Plus Marvel TV shows. But
Well, and let's be honest here, we're gonna let Tom Hiddleston play around as Loki
as long
for
as he
like
wants.
for like 8 episodes, and everyone's like, "Yeah, sure, man. Like, let's do this."
The kind of, I guess, twist at the end of the episode I thought was very easily guessed like 2 minutes into the episode, but that doesn't make it any less fun.
Mm-hmm.
And it is only the first episode, so I guess I'm just going to give a minor spoiler because I think everyone's kind of wondered what this show's going to be about anyway. They're hiring him to track himself.
Oh yeah, I wondered if it was gonna be Loki versus Loki.
Yeah, it's a different, more deadly Loki that's out and about.
And this is a version of Loki, the one that we have now, that never went through Thor Ragnarok. So who knows? Like, this is already a pretty deadly Loki.
It's because this is Loki, post First Avengers movie, like directly post First Avengers.
Which I'm admittedly still annoyed about, but that's different thing.
They've already sent like there are things in place where they're trying to fast track him through that emotional journey that we kind of got already, so that he can go to being a little bit more likable, the way that we all want him to be.
Oh yeah, I just really love Thor Ragnarok. So
Yeah.
they're like,
no, it's interesting so far. I can't wait to see what else they do with it. There's already been some really fun sequences, so
maybe I'll start WandaVision. Yeah, that's for later.
Yeah, you should.
I mean, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. Let's see, what about myself? I don't remember if I mentioned this last time or not. I've started playing Spider-Man Miles Morales
Oh yeah.
because I finally beat previous Spider-Man, and that remains a incredible game. I love Peter, but like anytime Miles is headlining something anymore, it's just a breath of fresh air to the Spider-Man franchise.
Mm-hmm.
My big thing has been I've been reading through all of the Valiant Shadow Man comics, like all of the modern run,
Mm-hmm.
in the same way that a few episodes back I was doing Archer and Armstrong. So I went with Shadow Man from 2012 by James Asmus up through, I'm currently working through the Indie Diggle run that just ended last year. Like everything up through the series that just launched last month.
Okay.
And it's kind of the opposite of Archer and Armstrong, where Archer and Armstrong, when it first launched, was the best book on the market. And the later follow-up series, I was like, this is very good. This is like a solid B to B plus comic book. The Shadow Man relaunch, I'm like, this is very good. This is, like a B. Like, it is extremely well done. If someone asked me if it was worth reading, I would say yes, but it's not like anywhere near my like, this is some of the best this company or character or whatever has ever been.
Mm-hmm.
And then I read the Indie Diggle book, which I wasn't sure about when I first started, and suddenly was like, oh my god, this is incredible. Like, just the creative team, the art, I think it's Steven Segovia as the launching artist, but they have like 6 artists on it. The understanding of like the characters and giving them their own unique voices, giving Alyssa Moy, who is Alyssa something,
Okay.
who is the female character, much more like agency and power as a character. Everything is like 4 steps up from where it was before. It is a really good comic book.
Hell yeah. Yeah, you texted me about that earlier this week, and I was like, oh man, Diggle wrote on Hellblazer, and I was already doing a little bit of Constantine research, so as soon as I got home from work, I was like, oh man, what Hellblazer did Diggle write? And then I realized it was some of my favorite in the entire run, and probably my favorite in like the later half of Hellblazer. So I completely believe that he can knock out the park with.
He also wrote Green Arrow Year One, which is one of my favorite Green Arrow stories, and he is the source of the name Diggle from Arrow.
Right.
John Diggle is named after him.
Yeah, I wondered about that. I didn't know that was like a for sure, but that's awesome.
I remember reading when the series first came out and someone asked him about that, and he's like, that is the weirdest feeling. Like,
oh, I can only imagine.
I am a random comic book dude, and a person named after me is like, I don't know if entering the mainstream counts, but like, kind of entering the mainstream at least.
Right.
But those are the big things for me. I got the Grimjack Omnibus arrived in the mail, the first one of 3. We're going camping, and I'm going to take that with me and just devour.
Nice.
But how about some news? How do we feel about that? I ask like we don't do this every time.
I think hitting our Newstastic 4 sounds amazing. Which do we want to start with?
Well, I always feel like we should start with one of the Richards, so let's go with Reed. Give us some real before we enter into the goofy.
A new paper from some New Zealand researchers suggests that the Maori people may have traveled to Antarctica 1,000 years before pretty much anybody else that we know.
That's insane. I mean, that's amazing. And hell yeah, we knew the Maori have traveled a lot more than we like to give them credit for, but man, that's cold.
It's harder to track some of these things. Partially because in the past, a lot of researchers kind of didn't care what local tribes had to say and what their stories said about where they went.
Yeah, they were just like, sure, okay, whatever, dude. Yep, you went to the gold place.
But then, depending on where you're at and which culture you're talking about and stuff, a lot of them, like, if they went to a place and they weren't going to stay there, it's not like they left anything to mark that they went there.
Mm-hmm. Well,
They'd
and then
show
add
up
on.
and go, "Oh, hey, we're not going to stick around."
Yeah, this does not seem like a cool place to hang out. Hey, I didn't mean to make that pun. And it's also a matter of like historical record gets really difficult. They have this problem with other. I mean, even in Britain, they have this problem with what it depends on what your building materials were of how good a like archaeological record there is. It's one thing to go to Egypt where everything was made out of stone and got buried in sand for 2,000 years,
Mm-hmm.
compared to, well, we're in a bog and everything was made of wood. We're you know we're on an island. Most of our stuff was made of wood, and we did a whole lot of sailing.
So I guess this research kind of focuses in. I think there's a number of different things that they're looking at, but the story that keeps getting brought up in a couple of the articles that I looked at is that they're looking very closely at a bunch of different oral traditions concerning a voyage in the 7th century by a Polynesian chief named Huiting Te Rangiora, that it seems at a certain point just kept going south and they ran into some land and they were like, okay, and came back.
This was fun.
And
Let's go
this
on.
would have been before even the Polynesian migration to New Zealand.
Oh wow! Oh wow!
Yeah.
Man, that is so much cooler than anything I found for my news this week.
So at the very least, they might not have landed there, but at the very least, it sounds like from what they've been able to stitch together that that expedition was probably the first human eyes to ever see the Antarctic.
Ah, that's cool. Okay. I love old things. Like the further back in history you can go, the more interesting it is.
Yeah, but that's what I got. That's my read this week.
Oh, that's so cool. All right, let's go with Ben. Ben Grimm, old rock solid. The cast for The Sandman was announced, and not only is an all-star cast,
Well, the rest of the
watching
cast.
the rest of the cast, thank you, I'm sorry. Watching Neil Gaiman give absolute zero fucks about people who are being racist or sexist or just generally crappy is just life affirming. It's just, I saw on Twitter someone being like, "We don't have the old manly Neil Gaiman of the '90s anymore," and Neil was like, "What?
What are you
What?
talking about?
Have you ever read anything I've ever written?" So some of these we already knew. So I only know who some of these characters are, even. So you're going to have to help me with updating the who's who on these. First of all, we have Kirby Howell Baptiste as Death.
Yeah, I've only seen her in 2 things, but.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I've never seen her before. Oh, I also like that they put the characters' pronouns when they're like announcing actor and cast and stuff. I just thought that was an easy way of doing things. I don't know her from anything. She's pretty. Like I hate to just stereotype as that, but literally all I have on her is this picture.
Yeah, lately, for things that I've watched with her, she was in The Good Place, which is probably where I first ran into her, and then I started watching Barry, and she has a recurring role on Barry as well.
Oh, cool. We have Mason Alexander Park as Desire, another one of the Endless.
Their casting is some of the most interesting blowback I've seen. Because
Desire is non-binary?
Like, Desire might be one of the most explicitly non-binary characters I've ever seen in a comic.
Well, and if you're going to be the physical manifestation of desire, I mean, if we're being honest, any of the Endless having a gender is sort of weird if you like think about it too closely, but especially Desire.
Especially, yeah.
Donna Preston is Despair. I don't think I've ever even seen this person before.
I think she does like some British comedies. I can't actually like, I don't know who she is either, to be honest.
Razane Jamal is Lyda Hall. Wait, Hall, is that like Hawkman?
Yeah, yeah. Cause
Hell
it,
yeah.
cause it was, cause Carter and Lyda are Daniels.
Shouldn't that be Shiera?
No, no, it was, they were the ones that were stuck in the dreaming and conceived him in the dreaming.
Okay. See, I've never finished Sandman, and that's showing here. Jolie Richardson as Ethel Cripps. And, Niamh Walsh as young Ethel Cripps.
Oh, that's right. I was about to say, what do I know Jolie Richardson from? But that's because she was in The Patriot and Event Horizon, both of which I've seen too many times.
I haven't watched The Patriot since I was like 15. David Thewlis as John Dee. He is obviously best known for Harry Potter, but he was also Ares, God of War.
Yeah, David Thewlis, and has just been like racking up a ton of just like different genre roles.
Mm-hmm. He's always good, even when he's given like a not great role. Like, as much as I liked Wonder Woman, Ares was not the strongest point.
No.
We have Kyo Ra as Rose Walker. Patton Oswalt voicing Matthew the Raven, which I think is amazing.
Yeah, that's going to be good. That's going to be good. Although I think he's going to make a great Matthew the Raven voice, but it's weird to think that Matthew the Raven is also Matt Cable.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, Swamp Thing. That was so weird. Stephen Fry as Gilbert.
Yeah, I'm down. That sounds good.
And pretty much anything Stephen Fry's in, I'll watch. I've watched some bad things because of that. Jenna Coleman as Johanna Constantine.
So they've actually expanded upon.
Oh?
She's not only going to be playing Lady Johanna Constantine, she's also going to be playing a female modern-day version of Constantine, which they were kind of not very clear with the details, but might just be like a way that, like, Johanna Constantine might have found a way to just live that long. Like, it might still just be her, but...
Oh, interesting.
But she's going to be doing Constantine in the period flashback that occurs, but it sounds like she's just going to be taking over Constantine's little one-issue arc that happens early on as well.
Well, if for whatever reason you can't do Matt Ryan as Constantine, you gotta change it up. You gotta make it like very unique, and I think Jenna Coleman could be really fun at it.
This was the casting that saddened me because I think Kirby Howell Baptiste is going to knock it out of the park with Death, but I'm sad that I don't get to live in a universe where I get to see this show done twice, once with Kirby Howell Baptiste as Death and once with Jenna Coleman as Death.
Well, I never would have thought of Jenna Coleman as Death, but I think she really could have done it well. I think anyone who has been a regular cast member on Doctor Who has a pretty good understanding of the kind of like whimsy required to play someone like Death.
Also, hers is another, like, all these people just trying to rail against this casting and just showing their ass at what they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Everybody's saying, well, I did say, I've already clarified she is going to be playing a weird, like, gender-flipped version. But there was a lot of people claiming that Johanna was the gender-flipped version of Constantine. And I'm like, oh, so you haven't read Sandman. Because she's actually important to the story. He's not. They both show up.
Yeah, but he just kind of shows up in passing. I mean, if I understand it, he's not wildly more important than when Mr. Miracle and Martian Manhunter showed up in the first episode or two.
He's barely more important than when they show up. And I would actually argue that it's more important the other way around. It's way more important in Constantine's storylines, which this show is not about, that he met Dream, than it ever is that
the Dream met him.
Mm-hmm.
And then for our last one here, we have Sandra James Young as Unity Kincaid.
I'm down.
Yeah?
I believe she's done some EastEnders. She's another one that I haven't seen her in anything. but like I'm excited. Nobody looks bad about this. Like everything I'm looking at as far as this casting goes looks
Mm-hmm.
great to me, and I have motherfucking Morpheus tattooed on my leg.
Yeah, no, this is a big one for you. I know Cece's going to be pretty excited to see it. As I said, I've never finished Sandman, not because it's not good, just for whatever reason, it's not really come up much. Uh, but I don't. Everyone I know who is like into these books is like, oh no, this is a really interesting cast. And let's be honest, Neil Gaiman has a pretty good reputation at this point of making sure things are done right.
What I'm most interested in is to see how he's updating it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because unless you're making it a period piece, and even then, just certain things age weird.
Yeah, from what I understand, it's not going to be a period piece. Like the parts that were set in the modern day in the comic are going to be aged forward, and it's going to be our modern day.
Well, and he's being very protective over this, even though I've heard him talk about how much he just wants to go back to writing books for a while. But he openly said that like he is the reason why several of the Sandman movie adaptations never happened. Because people were pushing things he didn't like, and so he's like, nope, we're just not doing this then.
Yeah. I'm wondering which ones he shot down. Because I don't think the JGL one he actually shot down.
No, if I remember, Joseph Gordon-Levitt was like, hey, they wanted... Basically, Joseph Gordon-Levitt was the one that shot down, being like, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to do Sandman. Like...
Yeah, it sounded like he actually had the right idea going forward, but that doesn't matter. Sounds like they still have the right idea going forward. So,
Sue Storm.
Oh, okay, Sue Storm. Might have been overlooked. You know what? I did see a number of places pick up this news yesterday, but it still might be overlooked by the average person because most people go Netflix adaptation soundtrack news. But the legendary Japanese composer Yoko Kanno will be reprising her role in composing the soundtrack for the Netflix adaptation of Cowboy Bebop.
Holy shit! Suddenly I care again about the live action Cowboy Bebop Netflix adaptation.
Dude, as soon as I heard that news yesterday, I ran and put on Tank.
Oh yeah, no, it's great. It's great. Oh my god.
Yoko Kanno,
Is she
of
working
course.
with the seatbelts again, or?
I believe so.
Oh my god, that's so good. Oh.
I was about to say, if you don't know, Yoko Kanno, of course, composed the soundtrack for the original Cowboy Bebop, Visions of Escaflowne, Wolf's Rain, some video game.
Gundam.
Yep, some Gundam, some video games dating all the way back to Nobunaga's Requiem.
Did she do Outlaw Star? I want to say that, but I don't actually know why I want to say that. I could just be...
I don't know off the top of my head, to be honest.
All right.
I think I named all the ones that I can off the top of my head. I think she did an episode of Cardcaptor Sakura.
Well, and I'm still admittedly on the record of saying a live-action Cowboy Bebop is completely unnecessary and pointless. Not pointless, but completely unnecessary, even though it sounds like the people who are doing this are actually taking it really seriously.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, Cowboy Bebop is one of the perfect pieces of media. The animation is top-notch, and it holds up today. The voice cast, both American and Japanese, were excellent, and if you're watching anime, you never get a great voice cast for both languages.
Right.
It's just unheard of. And the fact that it's animated was part of what worked for me. And I've gone on the record before of being driven nuts with, oh, this was a cool cartoon. We have to make it a live action series now and people will take it seriously. But I am sure there are critiques of Cowboy Bebop that are legitimate, but it's one of those pieces of media that I don't really have anymore. Even the only okay episodes are a wild ride for me. But the music is such a big part of Cowboy Bebop, and it's why Yoko Kanno was like a household name for anime fans in the early 2000s when I was like in high school and when I was really into anime.
Yeah, it's just super exciting news all around. Um, I I had an ex that would throw on the Wolf's Rain soundtrack at any given moment. So
Oh yeah.
I have heard just a ton of Yoko Kanno.
I mean, both CT and I still will randomly put on the Cowboy Bebop soundtrack. I recently just added it to a Spotify playlist because I was just like, oh yeah.
Right? So good. So good.
I have some of those. I have a surprising number of those songs memorized for someone who's not as into music as I am. For last one, Johnny Storm. This is our hot new thing or hot thing. And I don't know if. Okay, I'll say this. This is the only time in history, I think, that the DC League of Super Pets will make our Johnny Storm hot young thing. They announced the cast for DC animated movie DC's League of Super Pets, which had been announced, but it was one of those that just like they said they were doing it, and I completely stopped paying attention immediately.
Right.
But they announced the cast, and what the hell? How did they get this cast? Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, is in it. I should also say we only have one person confirmed on who they're playing.
Two people.
Is Dwayne playing Crypto? Because that would make sense to me.
Yep, Dwayne is Crypto.
Kevin Hart will be playing Ace the Bat Hound.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of these, we don't know who's playing them or who they're playing, but we have Keanu Reeves, Vanessa Bayer, John Krasinski, Kate McKinnon, Diego Luna, and Natasha Lyonne. That's wild.
I love seeing Natasha Lyonne's name in there with all of those. Like, she seems like weirdly the odd one out of that cast. Even though I know, like she's a big star in her own right. I don't want to take that away from her, but just much different roles in general than the rest of them are taking.
Mm-hmm. Help me place Natasha Lyonne. I'm loading up her picture right now, but
I'm just gonna let you finish loading up the picture then, because I'm sure you'll recognize her. But
she's Orange is the New Black.
Yeah.
And Russian Doll, and I don't know if she's the main Russian doll, but okay, so she's been in a lot of stuff.
I'm excited about this. I'm not going to try to say I'm not. But there is one thing I don't like about this, and I'm always iffy on. I don't like stunt casting animated voices.
Yeah, I would rather they give it to professional voice actors.
There are exceptions to that. If you write a role for a specific actor, cool.
Mm-hmm.
But too often they just try to play it like a normal movie where they're getting this actor just for the name recognition.
And it doesn't always work. I will say Dwayne Johnson I really liked him in Moana. I thought he played that role pretty well, so it could work.
I agree. I don't think anybody in this voice cast is going to do bad. I think they've all done voice work. I don't know if Krasinski has, but
I don't know if Krasinski has. I don't know how much voice work Kate McKinnon does, but she does seem like a shoo-in for like being a good voice actor.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like I said, I'm excited. I'm curious to see who everyone's playing before I get any more excited.
I really desperately want Keanu Reeves to be playing Dexter, the Red Lantern Cat.
Oh my god, that would be amazing.
And I want someone to play Torpo, the Aquaman pet octopus, but mostly because I cannot resist, and you've heard this in one of our other podcasts if you listen to New Island, I cannot stop talking about Torpo, the Aquaman octopus pet.
Well, that's going to be, yeah. I say Diego Luna for Torpo and John Krasinski for Comet.
No comment. No comment. I don't know if that episode of New Violet has come out yet, but no comment ever.
It might come out this same week. I can't remember.
Oh God.
It might already be out.
Unfortunately, who I want John Krasinski to play is a Marvel character. I want him to be Throg, Frog of Thunder.
Oh yeah, that'd be fantastic.
But I think that is our news for today.
I agree.
Let's take a quick break, and then we'll talk about the block and attacking it. So this might be one of my country boy things shining through here. When I think of a block, I think of like a full city block with like multiple houses and stuff. I forget that when people talk about like, this is our block, in a lot of cases, it's like a giant block apartment.
Right, like, because the block in this case is like their council housing.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, it makes sense that there is a huge apartment buildings. I mean, I know they exist in America too, but like this style of block is something that I don't even think of until I'm watching British TV and they treat this as perfectly normal. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm the only people for a few acres surrounding me right now, so this is odd, but that's Montana versus London, I suppose.
So, I guess going into this, it wasn't hardcore enough for me to feel like I need to apologize, but I do feel like because I was the one to suggest this because it's been on my to watch list for a while, and I knew a lot of really basic things about it. I didn't realize it was as much of a horror movie as it is. Otherwise, I would have suggested. Otherwise, I would have suggested it as like a crossover episode.
I did have the thought that this movie was sitting right on the edge of like which podcast you should be watching it for you.
I feel like I always had it described to me as being more on the action comedy sci-fi side.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely a little more horror than I was expecting it to be, and not in a bad way at all. This didn't have much any of the horror tropes that I dislike, so it was really well done. In case you have not picked up, because I don't know if we've actually said it yet, we this week watched Attack the Block. Came out in 2011. It was directed by Joe Cornish.
Yeah, who went on to do the first Ant-Man.
Oh, okay.
After Marvel decided they weren't in the Edgar Wright business.
I understand why Edgar Wright and Marvel did not mesh, but I'm still so sad. That would have been such a weird, cool movie.
Yeah, I agree. I do feel like there's some scenes in that first one that still sort of feel Edgar Wright.
Still pretty Edgar Wright-ish, yeah. So part of the reason we picked this movie was we had neither of us had ever seen it, and we knew almost nothing about it other than the kind of like horror, comedy, action, sci-fi combo.
Yeah, I knew John Boyega, Jodie Whittaker, aliens attacking a block, kids defending it. That's what I knew going into it.
So you knew more than I did, because I knew John Boyega, Jodie Whittaker. It was somehow sci-fi related, and it's the movie people use when they're trying to explain that they're not racist when talking about Star Wars or not sexist when talking about Doctor Who. Oh no, I'm not sexist for hating Jodie as the Doctor. I thought she was great in Attack the Block.
On that note, we should probably also point out that part of the reason we're doing this is because we needed something kind of easy to slot into, and usually our fallbacks are either Star Wars or Doctor Who.
Yeah, right. We discussed both of them and went, hey, what about this? Which, honestly, I'm glad we went with this. I've been wanting to watch this for a while, and this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I guess what you knew, I mean, I knew that it was aliens. I knew the creature design. I'd even seen, like, the aliens.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, what?
I just knew something sci-fi. I had no concept if it was futuristic or like cyberpunk, or I did not know it was aliens attacking in the modern day. I knew Nick Frost was somehow involved.
So was there, knowing that little going into it, was
Hmm.
there a point while watching it where like you had that click moment where it's like, oh, I am going to enjoy the rest of this?
I was pretty in from the beginning, and I don't know why I went in being like pretty positive that I was going to enjoy this. Beyond, I like John Boyega and I like Jodie Whittaker and
Mm.
Nick Frost, but I think the moment that we saw the really stupid but like entertaining kid gang hanging out and being tough kids,
Mm-hmm.
I was pretty signed on. I will say, you will never convince me that John Boyega was 15 in this movie.
Oh, no, hell no.
No, he is.
And how old would he have been while filming this?
Uh,
He would have been like 20, I think. Maybe not that old.
well, it came out in 2011. He was born in 1992. So, oh God, he was born in 92. I feel old.
Yeah, so what's the math on that?
He's 19 in this, so I guess
So yeah,
I would
so
have guessed early 20s. So it's not as far off as I thought. But
yeah.
like, there
But
is a
no,
big difference
he's
generally between 15 and 19. Like,
yeah, no, I ain't buying 15 in this. Although I would have guessed like 22, 23, not 19. So,
yeah. So obviously, we are terrible at guessing how old John Boyega is. It was. I actually watched Force Awakens just a couple days ago because I'm going to start slowly going through the sequel trilogy again because I've only seen Rise of Skywalker in theaters,
mm,
but
mm-hmm.
but I wanted to watch them in much closer succession, and I had the thought of as much as like I have all of those critiques, those movies really do still do it for me, and like I really like Boyega as Finn, but watching this movie made me really realize like, oh man, he's not wrong in his critiques of Rise of Skywalker, where they just didn't give him anything to work with because Boyega has a surprisingly like good range in this movie. And I say surprising not because like Boyega, but because it would have been really easy for the young gang leader that we never dive too much into to have no range here.
For real, I was watching this movie and I was kind of like, I think I need to make a retraction on my one of my previous episodes and John Boyega for Cyclops.
Yeah, man, I'd be into that. I like that a lot, actually, now that you say that. Oh my god, that's good. Marvel, do this.
Also, like kind of Franz Drama as Cyclops too. Like either
Which
one.
one was he?
Dennis, the one that went on to be Firestorm in the Arrowverse.
Oh my god. Oh yeah. Oh, that also was good. I didn't realize that was him. Jesus.
Yeah, that was Firestorm.
One thing I liked about this movie is we're seeing these like British punk kids, and part of it is Britain, and part of it's because they're like a small time street toughs gang that like you know rob people and sell some weed.
Mm-hmm.
But so they're not like hardcore. But if this had been an American movie, as he's pointed out to me, there would be high speed chases, and there'd be, as I pointed out, there'd be guns everywhere. In this one, they have like a club, some sort of Japanese sword that someone's like had hanging on the wall of their house, a couple of mopeds, and a bicycle. Like this is a much smaller scale alien invasion kind of thing, and I think part of this movie's charm is it really is. This is not the whole world's under attack and like we're seeing what happens on this block. No, just this block is under attack.
I did try to look up a little bit of like extra info on this,
Mm-hmm.
and I this is I just don't know a good time where to work this in, but I thought you would
No,
get a
please.
kick out of this little bit of info. The little kids, Probs and Mayhem.
Yeah, they're the best part of this movie, by the way.
The director tried to get like a true like method take where they didn't get to see the creature design until their first interaction with it because he wanted like the real reactions.
Yeah.
Their real reactions which they didn't end up using, and he had to make them act instead, was them just bursting up fucking laughing.
Yeah. Man, and that design was not bad either. Like, it was
No.
pretty well done. But that actually perfectly aligns with those two kids,
right?
who, as I said, were the best part. And the moment they had a squirt gun, Cece's like, that's not full of water.
And then the kid was like, yeah, that's not full of water.
That's not full of water. Like, yeah, that's so... They're the only... Like, everyone should have just followed them this whole movie.
Yeah, that'd be pretty great. I think, like you, I was pretty in on this movie from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
But I was surprisingly... I don't want to say it was that I was more in because of this, but I was suddenly, like, put on the edge of my seat and having to, like, watch every moment when they suddenly turned up the stakes and actually, like, killed Dennis.
Yeah. Once they actually offed a couple of members, you were like, oh, okay.
That might have been
real.
Yeah, that might have been one of the more surprising parts to me, because up until that moment, it seems like the kind of film where it's like, oh, they're doing a good job of, like, making you feel the terror still. They don't really have to kill anybody. Oh no.
Yes, we will. Yeah. This movie, it would have been so easy, and I think if this had been an American-made movie, it would have gone this way, to be a much more, like, slapstick kind of humor in film.
Mm-hmm.
But they really did a good job of, like, it's funny, but without turning any characters into caricatures. And then when they decide to, like, turn the serious button on, it's done. Like, it's serious. And then they can slip back to the comedy because of that. I don't know. It was just a very good balance of this movie, I thought.
Have you read anything about, like, where the inspiration and stuff came from?
Nope. This is probably bad podcasting, but I pretty purposely looked up basically nothing.
I mean, it's not the most interesting thing. I mean, it's not like there's any super cool story like, oh, do this, or this, but it is interesting that one of the things that kind of sticks out about this movie was done intentionally, and it was supposed to be a little bit more, like, realistic, both a realistic look, like, look, if you're, like you said, like, in a big blown up, like, budget action movie, they're going to be grabbing all sorts of crazy guns and stuff. These kids are just grabbing bats and knives. Jodie Whittaker goes back in and grabs her fucking kitchen knife. But also, just a lot of movies tend to play any sort of youth gang as entirely bad.
Mm-hmm.
And although these aren't necessarily good kids, they're not demonized in this movie. They're shown for, like, they do shitty things, but they're a family and you can, like, empathize.
Yep. And, you know, in several cases, like in, what is Boyega's character's name? Moses?
Yeah.
In Moses' case, we don't see a lot, but we see the signs that, like, you know, he doesn't have a great home life. It'd be really easy for everything to go dark for him. And I kind of got the sense he sort of does what he needs to do to survive. And, like, a lot of places where people go into crime, it's because it's the option available to them to, you know, get out of poverty.
Yeah. That uncle ain't there.
Yeah. And as they, like, say, even still, as he sits there, like, you know, he may do that, but it's also his block. He's not wanting to wreck it. He's just also wanting to, you know, occasionally mug some people and sell some weed. The character that does get entirely villainized, and I'm all for it, is the character that I think needs to get villainized more often, is the weed dealer who thinks that they're like a hardcore gangster on the block because they sell weed.
Oh yeah, hi-hats.
Yeah. The guy who so clearly thought he was a gangster and got people killed because he thought he was like a tough gangster, but was really just a dipshit.
Yeah. Plus, just egocentric asshole. If he could have looked past himself for a second, like in that right before he bites it, if he just would have turned, he probably still would have got killed. But like he could have shot a few of them.
Well, and then he's wasting his bullets on trying to get Jodie Whittaker's character and Moses. Like, no, man, that is not your priority. When the monsters, who, by the way, keep reminding me of the monsters from Bone, like the Jeff Smith comic.
Oh, yeah, a little bit, huh? That's funny.
Put on, like, big googly eyes, and it would look like Bone.
Have one of them mention a quiche?
Yeah, make one quiche obsessed. Actually, I almost would love this movie more if one of the random monsters kept talking about quiche. Oh, I really like the monsters were all, like, matte black, like, very purposely not even having any light reflecting off it, and then except for the teeth which glow. That makes no sense, but God, it looks cool.
Oh, it was so cool. It was so cool. Yeah, that monster design sticks with me. That's one of the cooler aliens I've seen.
Well, and it's one of the things I like about like low budget sci-fi, but the ones that are still like trying is you don't have the money to do literally whatever you want, so you have to like if you want to be good, you have to have a pretty simple design, but one that like is memorable.
Mm-hmm.
If this had been a huge budget, the whole world's attacking, yada yada yada, they could have made the demons, and they probably would have made the demons a lot less memorable because they would have put in so much detail that it just gets lost.
Well, yeah, because it's like, well, not just that. Like, it's you touched on the budget reasons. Like, fur is hard to animate, and they obviously wanted to make them furry. But if you make it so black that there's no actual detail except for the edges, then suddenly you made it a lot easier again.
Well, and it's cool too because you can kind of maintain that shadowy shape feeling no matter what. Because there's like a lot of monsters that when they're in the shadows and you're seeing bits of them, they look pretty cool, and then you actually see them and you're like, that's fine.
Yeah, unless it's made by like Stan Winston, you're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's fine. This one, they never quite get out of the shadows even when they are, so it's just, yeah. I do have to ask, completely unrelated to their fur, what fucking fireworks are you able to buy in Britain that are doing the kind of damage that they're doing with these fireworks?
The only thing I was able to figure on that was it wasn't doing so much damage as it was just overloading their senses because presumably their other senses are turned up having no eyesight.
Yeah. Well, and they do seem pretty weak to fire compared to literally anything else. Mm-hmm. So I guess I could still see that, but it was just every once in a while I'm like, how are these fireworks so much more effective than a gun?
Right. I said it already, but I was kind of blown away by how weirdly realistic this movie was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as soon as they killed that first one, I'm like, without knowing that this is where the movie was going, I was like, oh, well, you sell that shit. And then they're like, oh man, who can we sell this to? I'm like, see?
Well, and I think one thing that helped ground it in realism is there was no male gaze moment in this movie. There was no, like, someone is, for the most part, no one's, like, pausing to pose sexually.
Mm-hmm.
We get a little bit with John Boyega, but it's mostly, like, cool guy pose before he goes and blows up an apartment.
Yeah, also, man, Boyega can scowl with the best of them.
Yeah, he can. I think I've only seen him as Finn before that, who is not a scowler.
Right, like he's not happy-go-lucky, but he's not Moses.
Yeah. So nice little bit of range from Boyega there. And honestly, Boyega should be a much bigger star than he is. And I know it's because he keeps calling out problems, but also good for you, John Boyega. Call out problems where they exist.
So you have more experience with Whittaker. What did you think of her in this? Compared to having seen her mostly in Doctor Who.
I'm going to say that the character was somewhat unremarkable, but I don't even mean that in a bad way. Like, if you're going to portray a normal fucking person who is she was just a graduated med student, if I remember. Like
Yeah, a trainee nurse.
yeah, because she was working, but she had just graduated. This is about how you would expect someone to respond in most of those things. Like, she handles it better than most people would, but like, you know, at no point does this character become a giant badass. At no point is this character like a huge hero. She's just a person surviving, and I thought Whittaker did a really good job of portraying that. And it was interesting because Whittaker's the same way. I've only seen her in Doctor Who, where she plays, you know, the great whimsical hero of space time. You know, I'm trying to figure out how I want to put this. You still definitely saw Whittaker. Like, there's who she is as a person still shows through pretty strong in both of these roles, but there's none of the weird whimsy from the Doctor. She plays a completely different character. And I think she does it's another one of, I was impressed with some of the range that I was seeing.
Dennis's death surprised me, but I was sad to see Jerome go.
Yeah, I was sad to see all the people that died, but yeah, Jerome was like the most normal of all of them, and like the most reasonable of all of them for the most part, if it's who I'm thinking of.
Mm-hmm. It is.
He's like, no, you're the person I want to live through all. Well, I want all of them to live through it. What was the name of kind of like the doofy white boy sidekick?
Oh, Pest?
Pest was great.
Pest was amazing. I love Pest's little crush on Whittaker towards the end, too.
Yeah. Man, you saved my leg. You're kind of cute. This is great. Where's your boyfriend?
Oh, man. Nick Frost, that was good. Almost distracting, though, I have to admit.
Nick Frost pulled me out of it more than anyone else, maybe just because I've seen more with Nick Frost. This was a pretty unremarkable role for him. Like, I mean, he doesn't do bad, but it was, for me, a little more, oh, hey, look, it's Nick Frost, as opposed to, like, the character they're playing.
Mostly opposite him, though, like, I don't know if I'd ever seen Luke Treadaway in anything, and I liked Brewis. That was a lot of fun.
Was he the poor white boy stoner that just desperately was like, I just want to sell some weed. Like, please, what is happening today?
Yeah, I'm way too high for this.
That's it. That's the guy. Yeah, he just wants to sell some weed. He just wants to watch a nature documentary, hang out. But no.
Yeah, all this shit starts going on. Also, apparently, Cornish wrote Brewis based on himself in his 20s.
Living at home and selling weed to get by.
Yep.
Yeah, that's okay. I know plenty of people who have done it. So apparently they're making a sequel to this, and John Boyega is attached. And you said Cornwall wrote this?
Cornish.
God, I'm bad. Cornish. I'm so bad with names. Cornish is like writing and I believe directing it again. So like I'm open to the possibility, but it is definitely one of those movies where it's like, do we need an Attack the Block 2?
Well, I'm wondering if this is where it's going to go. This was something that was brought up when it sort of first went through its like opening and first got a round of reviews, and it was good reviews, but there was a few that pointed out like these aliens as we see them are all basically just animals.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're just following their mating cycle from what we learn in the movie, and they seem to be more akin to just, I don't know, really like destructive big animals in heat.
It kind of made me think of like the xenomorphs from Alien. There's no like deeper plot there. They're just...
But here's the thing, the pods that they showed up in were carved and designed for them.
So who is sending these things?
Exactly.
For me, what I'm curious about, like, if they just have it just the block is attacked again, I have the question of, are you going to be able to, like, land that right? Like, how is that going to...
It's going to have to. I mean, it'll be bigger. It'll start in the block, but it's going to be attack the block and name only, and they're going to be
And
savoring
that's
like
kind of where
all
it
of
bums me
London.
out. There was something I really liked about such a localized alien invasion as opposed to grand scale.
I think there's
But
ways you can still play it. I feel like, um, even though it took course across the city, they did a really good job of making the last Purge movie feel really localized.
okay, I could see that.
Um,
But that's going to be what's important. Like, not because if you go too big, you're just going to lose the point of it. I also don't necessarily. I could see it happening, especially with the final scene of him with the sword and the no sleeves and the scowl. Him kind of having a Sarah Connor between Terminator and Terminator 2,
oh yeah,
where
yeah.
he's going like off the deep end tough guy. But I don't necessarily want that.
I kind of want that just because he never got to be as badass as they should have made him in Star Wars.
Okay, I'll give you that. Like, yeah, I want him to get to like lead a good action movie. I don't just we've talked so much about the realism of Attack the Block
Oh yeah,
for
I
such an
don't.
unrealistic thing.
Right. Yeah, I guess I
So
don't
I
want them to lose that.
yeah. I don't want to go from, Ash and Evil Dead to Ash and Army of Darkness.
Or at least, yeah, or at least the simulated realism where it feels like something that you would want to at least try to do if you were in that situation.
Hmm.
Because like some of the fucking scooter work over like the walkways and shit was probably pushing it, but
I don't know why that I thought of this here, but possibly my favorite line in this entire movie is when like the kids are trying to patrol the corridors and they're like, "Go home, lock your doors, watch Naruto."
yeah. That was
And
awesome.
I'm sitting here looking at like the manga shelves of my giant comic collection, and Naruto is right in front of me, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like I'm older than John Boyega, but he's clearly talking to me in this.
I will say if there are others of you out there that are listening to this and being like, "Why haven't I watched this movie? Why don't people talk about it more?" I will say this is one of those movies that got kind of screwed upon its opening. Did
Yeah, what happened?
so when it got screen tested, it actually did really well across the board. And I don't know if there's I don't know I haven't heard anything of like the behind the scenes of what would have caused this, but in the 25 markets it was tested, it did had an excellent rating in 22 of them and only a very good in the other 3. But then they only released it into 11 markets with no website and only a single trailer released a week before it dropped.
Oh, so advertising super dropped the ball, is what you're telling me.
I mean, not just advertising, they tested it in 25 markets, 22 where it did excellent, and then only released it into 11.
Yeah, that's bizarre. This movie should have been, I feel like, Shaun of the Dead level big, where it's not like an American powerhouse, but it's that weird kind of small British movie that does way better than anyone expected.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they micro released this. That's insane.
And I'm not sure, I'm not sure. I wonder what the story is there, because somebody had to have been pissed at somebody, right?
Yeah, right. That does feel like this is being purposely sunk kind of thing.
Luckily, it's continued to have good word of mouth and good enough word of mouth that it made it onto my to watch list, I guess, because this was fantastic, and I'm glad I finally got to it.
Hmm. This has been, and I think this was true for both of us on that, like, oh man, I should watch that someday list for ever since I first heard about it. In my case, ever since I first heard about just, you know, Jodie and John sci-fi flick together.
And I dug the soundtrack. We hadn't brought that up yet. I thought it was a killer soundtrack. Basement Jacks worked on that. I love Where's Your Head At.
Yeah, I. It's not music I traditionally listen to, but it's music that I've been growing to appreciate more in the last year or two. That was very well done. I didn't it didn't like stand out to me as much. But I don't review movies as significantly as you do. I just kind of like watch it and be like, oh, I thought that was great.
I talk about movies every week over on Fried Squirms, and this kind of movie every week on Fried Squirms. I'm not the soundtrack guy. That's Danny. This one just happened. I was like, oh man, this sounds familiar. And then I looked it up later, like, oh shit, Basement Jacks? Where's your head at?
Blah, blah, blah. Made it, like, the song was pretty good, but it made it really hard to take it seriously every time dipshit hi-hat or whatever his name
Oh, yeah, that.
was like singing it and doing the like more. He just was. I mean, he had a gun and killed several people, so like he actually was pretty tough, but he just was so wannabe to me.
Just terrible muzzle discipline with that gun.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Ooh.
should not be trusted with a gun.
The one other thing that was super distracting for me, are you familiar with the song "Man's Not Hot" by Big
No, I don't
Shaq?
know. No, I don't think I've ever even heard of it.
So I can't remember the name of the actual comedian. Big Shaq is a character from a UK-based comedian who is an overblown stereotype of the roadman subculture. The roadman subculture is also very linked to multicultural London English.
Okay.
So that whole song is done in a very overblown version of the exact same dialect that they were using this entire movie.
Okay.
And the song, it's hilarious. Like, it's a comedy song. It's a character from a comedy act. But it's all of this and more. And every time anybody spoke in this movie, I was like, man's not hot. Oh, it's like fucking so good. I don't know what else to say about this right now, to be honest.
It's a hard one to talk about because we're just like, yeah, this is really fun. Was there anything that didn't work for you in this movie?
No.
Yeah, that's fair. I might think of something later, but this movie falls under. I mean, I'd give this movie probably like an A minus maybe. Like it's not going to hit any of my like top 10 lists, but if I would super rewatch this movie again, like pretty much any time.
Oh yeah, I will be rewatching it in like half a year when we cover it on Fried Squirms. But I told Danny we can't do it right away, or else I'm just going to end up saying all the same goddamn things. So
yeah, give yourself some time to think about that.
But I've already made plans to watch it again.
Perfect.
I love this movie.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to show it to a few people now. Any recommendations for?
Yeah, you know what? In the vein that like I was pointing out that this movie kind of feels weirdly not bad, but weirdly familiar, and you kind of know what's coming up until the point Dennis dies. I'm gonna go with something along those lines. It's another mostly lighthearted horror movie called Summer of '84 that is kind of just a modern made 80s coming of age horror movie. So like one of those ones that would star like an 8 to 12-year-old who's not getting in too much peril, but is like sneaking into neighbors' houses because they're, sure that this is going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of that sort of film. Kind of just about growing up.
And what did you say this was called?
It's called Summer of '84.
Oh, I've heard of this. Yeah, I'm into it.
Yeah.
My recommendation is going to be completely out of left field. I'm just getting that out there. It is the Sonic and Mega Man comic crossover, like Sonic the Hedgehog and Mega Man, classic 8-bit little robot blue shooty guy.
Okay.
Because I am sitting here looking at my comic collection, being like, I forgot to pick a recommendation until Tyler started talking. And this book, I don't know if... how we've talked about that difference between, like, good and fun?
Mm-hmm.
This is not a great comic in a lot of ways. This is not, if I'm recommending a good comic, it's Sandman, it's Saga, it's Grant Morrison's Animal Man. This is just the writer Ian Flynn going, you know what? I get to go wild here, and picked two of the most out there big in the 90s video game properties that Archie had the rights to both making comic stuff at the time, and crossed them over. And we have Dr. Wily teaming up with Dr. Eggman from Sonic and crushing the two worlds together and doing just insane stuff.
Yeah, none of this sounds good, but it sounds incredible.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if you ever read any of the Sonic comic books. They're not great, but they did run for 300 issues and developed while Archie still had them, this wildly intense continuity and crossovers and power levels and character histories that they took seriously.
Do they ever explain the bat boobs?
No.
I can't remember that character's name, but
they just recognized that they're a solid half their fan base was furries, and while they were never super explicit, definitely gave the occasional pinup shot. That makes this sound way weirder than this one itself was. The art is good. It's a very pretty comic book. It's very dumb, but again, you're reading the Sonic and Mega Man crossover book. You're not going into this thinking you're going to find high art. But if you are someone like me that it just enjoys comic book crossovers to make you go, I never would have thought of that, but I can kind of see why they did. This is the book for you. If you're a person that pays attention to the story in any of the Super Smash Bros. Games, this is the book for you.
All right.
I'm not that person, but I do own this book.
We know what we're doing next time?
Yes, we are doing Gideon the Ninth by... Let me look up that author's name. I'm only listening to the book. There's no reason I'd actually remember who wrote it.
I know. I've actually been reading it on my lunchtimes at work, and I still don't know the name.
By Tasman Moore. The only hook that I will give for this novel is it was sold to me as Necromancer Space Lesbians, and I went, yep, let's do this.
And that's how you sold it to me.
I sold it to you, too, yeah.
And I was like, ooh, Necromancer Space Lesbians, I'm in.
I was like, this is either going to be super trashy or honestly surprisingly good, and either way I'm excited. And I'm not through the book yet, but so far the answer is kind of both.
Yeah, I'm still kind of towards the beginning, but...
But that's next time.
And for this time, I'm Tyler.
I'm Zach.
Dismissed. Hi everybody, General Tyler here. If you like the show, please hit subscribe however you're listening to us right now. Also, if you could rate and review us however you're listening to us right now, or preferably over at Apple Podcasts, we would super appreciate it, as the whole world is ran on algorithms, and we want to be all up in them, getting our voice out to more places. Also, tell your friends. We always appreciate that. If you want to get in contact with us, ask us questions, give us comments, email us generalnerderypod@gmail.com. You can also contact us through our website, www.generalnerdcast.com. While you're there, check out all of our back catalog, or click the links up at the top, as we are part of the Earworm Podcast Network. Go check out all of our sister shows. We're involved with most of them, so if you already like listening to us talk, it might be in your best interest. And if you want to check out everything from the network, head over to earworm.com, EARVVYRM.com. We'd super appreciate it. Love you all. Have a good one.